Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, we're going to talk about mobile ordering at the Disneyland Resort, and we're also going to give our dining review of the Fantasmic dinner package at the Blue Bayou restaurant in the Disneyland Park. All that coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, and points around Southern California, this is the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged Disneyland Edition, episode 732 for the week of June 18th, 2018. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disneyland vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my co-host, Mr. Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
And our West Coast team, our producer, Mr. Tyler Crouch.
Hi, everyone.
And our Disneyland editor, Ms. Katrina Manzoni.
Hi, everyone.
So welcome to the show, everybody. Hope your week is off to a good start. We actually have to make this a shorter show because we got started late in recording and we have some time crunches, so it's a little bit shorter than the shows are normally going to be, but I hope you will bear with us. Excuse me. First, we're going to start off talking about mobile ordering, which is a recent development in the last few months out at Disneyland. It has recently been expanded. We've been doing it out here in World for a while, and it's awesome. Mm-hmm. And when Rhino and I were out in California a few weeks ago with Tyler and Katrina, we decided to try it out. So first, let's talk about where mobile ordering is available. Katrina, Tyler?
At the Disneyland location, there's the Bengal Barbecue, Galactic Grill, Gibson Girl Ice Cream Parlor, Hungry Bear, Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe, and Red Rose Tavern.
Which are some great places to eat.
Do you want to go for California Adventure?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and then over at California Adventure, they have Award Wieners, Clarabelle's Hand Scooped Ice Cream, Cocina Cucamonga Mexican Grill, Corn Dog Castle, Flo's V8 Cafe, Lucky Fortune Cookery, Pacific Wharf Cafe, Paradise Garden Grill, and Smoke Jumpers Grill. So it's like literally every quick service, I think. I don't think they've left anything out, actually.
Yeah, it seems like it's a pretty extensive list, and it's just recent. Like I said, it just recently expanded. We used it at the Bengal Barbecue while we were out there. We were actually in California Adventure when we decided that's where we wanted to have lunch, mm-hmm. and we actually placed the order while we were in California Adventure.
Yeah, while we were doing the walkover, we would just pass the phone around to everybody, entered in what they wanted to order because it's got the full menu on there. It's pretty easy to use if you haven't used it before. It just lists the menu. You can select. You can put special instructions on there, add items like waters, all that sort of stuff in there. So
another cool part too, which we can do here, but it's important. I'm doing a keto diet right now. Katrina does a gluten-free diet. We were able to put all our special requests in. I was able to say leave the sauce off.
Yeah.
Things like that. Katrina was able to put her dietary restrictions in. And
then also what was kind of cool is if you were doing it in your app and you're an annual pass holder, it automatically included those discounts in there too.
Yes, that was very cool.
Yeah, because in Disneyland they have a lot more opportunities to use their annual pass discount than we do at Walt Disney World, which is something very nice, very special. And I will say this mobile ordering worked very well for us, I would say, because we got there and when we got a place to sit, for those of you who don't know, once you've submitted your order, when you get to the location, you click in the app and say, I'm here. And then that way your food's not cold and they bring it, up to a special location at the counter that says mobile ordering pickup and you go get it. And I was watching the people who were getting in line as we were sitting after we'd gotten our food. And there were two guys that got in line before we started eating and we ordered twice. So we ordered food. Pete decided he hadn't ordered enough, and so we went on another round where we all got something. And the second time we went up to pick up our food, the the guys who were in line from our first time were just getting up to the counter to order, and I was like,
Yeah, no, it definitely saves a lot of time. And for us, it worked great. There were some other friends with us who had ordered separately.
yeah,
And one of them
yeah, his did not work.
did not work well. His took a lot longer. We were actually starting to do our second order
Yeah.
when he just got the order he had placed when we were in California Adventure.
I don't know if that was like, I don't know if he happened to have gotten one of the miscommunication or something like that for him. We were never really sure if it just got lost in the mix because this is still kind of new for them or not or whatnot. But I'm just really happy it worked out for us because I was starving.
And
but-
correct me if I'm wrong. Bengal barbecue. Every time I pass by, I've only eaten there a couple of times, and it's amazing. It was so good. Especially
I love Bengal barbecue.
especially the pork
That's by
belly.
far my favorite.
Oh,
The pork belly skewer
I had that too.
was ridiculous and perfectly keto friendly, as long as you don't have the sauce on it. But that line, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, there's always a line from Bengal barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Recently, yeah. I mean, usually we used to, like about a year ago, I think it started picking up because I feel like we used to just go and grab bacon wrapped asparagus as a snack and then eat it, around the park. But now it's like a 30-minute line or more.
Yeah, it
I
seems
don't
like
know
ever since they updated their menu to include like the rice plates and the hummus and all that stuff, like it seems like it's been a lot more crowded. And that was the thing that I was most excited about when I heard about mobile ordering. I was like, I'm gonna order from Bengal Barbecue because I never get to eat there anymore. So it worked out perfectly, and I am excited to do it again. Honestly, my favorite thing about it was, like we said earlier, that in Disney World they do not accommodate for Katrina's gluten allergy. There's no way to do mobile ordering for Katrina in Disney World, but over here they do. So that's great,
Yeah. And it's nice in the app too because they have all the allergies. If you just keep scrolling through the menu, certain locations have like for egg allergy or for dairy or gluten. And so I think it's really, really nice to have that option available to all of us because I was really excited when I saw that. Not all menus have that gluten or the dietary restrictions allowed on the app, but some of the locations, if you just keep scrolling through the menu, you can see the allergies.
One of the things that struck me is that just at least from my standpoint using it, the engine that they're using for this app is the same engine they're using out here. So I don't understand why we're not able to put those allergy restrictions on.
Yeah. I know, like, in Florida, they're really strict about their allergies because I remember when Tyler got food and I got food, they put, like, a bottle of water on Tyler's, tray, and my tray is different color. I think it's, like, green because it's, like, an allergy tray in Florida. But when they put the bottle of water on Tyler's tray, I was like, oh, no, you can put it on my tray. And they're like, no, we can't. It already touched his tray. And I was like, it's a bottle of water. Okay, fine, whatever. And so I just grabbed it, put it in my purse. But I understand like how they take their allergies seriously. So I appreciate that. And in California, I think it's just a little different. They don't have it as strict as Florida. Maybe.
I'm surprised by that. I would think that's because I always felt that was a company policy, not necessarily. I don't necessarily know that it's a legal or a law here in Florida that you have to do that. It may be, and I'm not familiar with food allergies that much, so I don't know that it's not a law in Florida. But I always thought it was more of a company policy that it was Disney covering their butts. Especially like
I think it is.
If you go to any restaurant here, any restaurant at all, and you mention that you have a food allergy, the chef, you're not dealing with the server now, you're dealing with the chef. The person who's cooking your food comes to the table, make sure they get that information. That's not just a customer service thing. That's a we don't want to get our butts sued off into next week thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think they offer it because I know when I order, they'll ask if I want to speak to a chef. And I say, like, no, I already know what I want because they already have, like, an allergy-friendly menu I can go off of. They have to mark it in their system for quick service that I declined the chef consultation. So it's kind of like them protecting themselves, saying
Now,
I declined.
has that been the experience you've had out here doing quick service?
Yeah, I think I haven't really. I want to say like I've done it. I'm more often out here than for quick service in Florida because usually we eat at table service, and they always have that menu, that allergy menu, and they ask, I'm sure they have something in the back where they click saying like I declined it because they do offer saying, do you want to speak to a chef or are you okay going off the menu? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I can go off the menu, and then they'll go, okay.
In certain ways, Disney World is a little bit more careful about certain things. Like, I don't know if they do this anymore, but I remember when I first brought Katrina, they would actually bring out, when she said she had an allergy, they would actually bring out a book that would show you the different brands of everything that she was eating. Like, oh, here's the company that makes the bun, here's the company that makes the meat patty. Like they showed her like all of the brands in a book, and so we've never had anything like that in California.
The nutritional information book, I think, is what you're talking about. That all the locations used to have, and that disappeared a few years ago. Used to be in World that you could go to a counter service restaurant and say, I want to see the nutritional information on this dish, and they would pull out a book and it would show you all the macros for that particular dish. They no longer do that. Why, I don't know, but they don't. But overall, I thought the experience of using mobile ordering at Disneyland was seamless. With that one exception of our one friend, something happened. For the rest of us, it was a seamless.
Well, and that was, 4 of us that ordered in that one order that you made? Because me,
5.
you, Katrina, so there were 5 of us, and it included 2 different things with, special instructions, and nobody got anything wrong.
No, everything was.
Yeah, I forgot JJ was it. Yeah,
everything was right. So, overall, I mean, Bengal barbecue, amazing, and being able to do the mobile ordering, especially on a busy day in that park,
it'll save you a lot of time.
Just imagine like the ice cream line. If you're going to like Gibson Girl, how long that can possibly get, and you just do mobile ordering. You can just probably walk up and grab your ice cream while everybody else is still waiting in line.
Yeah.
I want ice cream
totally
right
worth
now.
it.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Now I'm craving ice cream. All right. So while we're talking about food, let's move on to our discussion about the Fantasmic dinner package that we did. It's no secret I'm not a fan of the Blue Bayou restaurant. I have not had good experiences there for quite a while, but every so often I like to go back, A, because something may have changed, and B, because I'm a glutton for punishment. So we had set this up. We were a party of 7.
Yeah, 7, yeah.
And we had set it up for a 4:30, so an early dinner.
Yeah.
And keep in mind that this is a $70 per person prefix menu. You have options, but you have a special menu that you order from with certain items. It is $70 for appetizer, main course, dessert, and a non-alcoholic beverage. There are some of the appetizers that are a $5 upcharge. There's a beet salad, crab hush puppies, and a whole spice shrimp appetizer. All of those are a $5 or $5 additional. So let's start, and then you have your meal, and you're given. I forgot to bring it in with me. You're given
the cushion,
a seat cushion, a Fantasmic themed seat cushion.
It's got a cool pattern on it.
It does have it's a cool cushion.
Well, but it alarmed me immediately because I was like, why am I gonna need this seat cushion?
Because you're gonna be sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
When you watch Fantasmic. But we'll get to that part. Let's start with the meal. Let's start with you, Katrina. What did you order?
For the starter, I got just their normal salad, their Blue Bayou house salad with the dressing on the side. And then I do not like blue cheese, so I ordered no blue cheese and no pecans. And so when they brought it out, it was kind of plain because they pretty much like left everything off my salad. But it was just fine. It was the same. It's like just normal house salad with like, was it frisee lettuce with I think a bit of like romaine and iceberg. So it was simple. And then for the main entree, I think that was like by far the best value. I got the surf and turf with my filet with medium, and they cooked it perfect medium. And I
Your
the potato, they
potatoes
had
were
like a,
so good.
was it the au gratin potato? Yeah, Rhino had a couple bites of mine, and it's like delicious, cheesy, spicy, has like onion, and oh, it was so good. And then the vegetables, they were fine. They were just like, what was it? Green beans and little zucchini. So, and they're fine. There's nothing to rave about. But and then for dessert, all I could have was the sorbet or the creme brulee. So I went for the creme brulee, and it was. The custard was really good, but just the top sugar part wasn't my favorite. It was just like too sugary. I don't know what kind of, they use like a different kind of sugar to cook the top part, but all in all, I thought it was a great deal for what I got for the surf and turf with the lobster tail, because the lobster tail was a decent size too. Like
Yeah, it was.
4 ounces. I think it was a 4-ounce lobster tail. I'm not really sure. It looked like
Probably.
it, but it was delicious. I love my meal.
All right, Tyler, what about you? What did you have?
Well, I ended up going with one of the upcharge appetizers, so I did get the crab hush puppies, which I thought were really good. I had never had them before up until this last trip. I had only had like the gumbo, which is one of the standard appetizers, but the crab hush puppies were so good. They were like slightly spicy. They had that kind of cornbread batter and a little bit of crab in the middle there, and this nice little sauce on top. And it was really good, and it came kind of like in a slight kind of like a salad form, because it came with like some frisee and stuff in the bottom. So it was nice to have all that in one bite, and just I really did enjoy that. That was probably I'm not going to say my favorite, because the next part was the surf and turf again, which it has béarnaise sauce on top of it too, which is like kind of one of my favorite things on this planet, I think. And it was amazing. I mean, that I think as we get it, as you look at the menu, that is one of the dishes that really is worth that $69 price. Not every entree, I would say, is going to be actually worth that price.
Yeah.
So when I just took a look at my surf and turf, and you have like the 4-ounce fillet and the 4-ounce lobster tail, you can't go wrong with that. It actually is super tender, really high quality meat, and those potatoes, man, like Katrina was saying, those were just, that kind of steals the show too. So it's a really, really rich dinner. But then for my dessert, I had a 8-layer hazelnut cake, which I thought would taste a little bit more like Nutella or something, but it was really more just like a very dark chocolate cake. And I could only have a couple bites of that because it was so incredibly rich. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was good, but I had so much already that I was like, oh, I can only do a little bit of this. And it was kind of a nice little, I don't know, palate cleanser, I suppose, to just kind of even out my meal. And then I only needed a couple bites and I was done. But I really liked it. So,
Rhino, what about you? What did you have?
I went with the Blue Bayou house salad without the blue cheese, because I'm not a blue cheese fan, but it was fine. Standard issue house salad. Nothing really to write home about special with it. Honestly, I was a little disappointed that there were only 2 options for the starters for like $70 a person. It seems like maybe they could have had a third and you didn't have to pay $5 more for 3 other ones, but it was fine. The salad was fine. I got a balsamic dressing on it that was pretty good. And then I went for the entree. I went with the pan-seared salmon, which came with white cheddar mashed potatoes, spinach, tomato caper relish, and a basil beurre blanc sauce. And I thought it was good, but all I can think about is like it was $69. Like, okay. So if we broke it down for how much each thing costs, I mean, the salad I ate was probably like a less than $10 salad. There's no way that salmon should have been more than like $20, 25 maybe at the most. So I'm just starting to think like, okay, $35, what am I getting for dessert? Like, it's going to be the best thing ever. But I went with the creme brulee as well, and it was fine. It was creme brulee. Creme brulee is not very exciting to me. I mean, Katrina taught me about listening to the ocean with them. You put your ear next to it and then you crack it, apparently. I thought she was trying to listen to the ocean. So we got that, but Pete, since he's doing the keto diet, he didn't get a dessert. So we ordered a different dessert. So I got second desserts, and
better your hips than mine, dear. Better your hips than mine.
It's the Sorcerer Mickey, and so it's this little round cake that is made out of pound cake, chocolate mousse, bananas Foster in the center, which is like kind of a cake, not like liquidy, and then it had a chocolate glaze, so it looked a lot like the cakes you'd find at like Amaret's Patisserie. So it was very like shiny, and I almost thought it was gonna have like fondant and be a little dry on the inside. This dessert is, don't order any of the other desserts. Get this dessert. It was just the right amount of, like, it was kind of the texture of bread pudding almost, and it was like nice and cold. It was almost refreshing. It was light. It was, I'm still thinking about that dessert right now. When I was editing the video you can watch on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/disunplugged, of us in the moment eating this, I was like, I'll fly back just for that.
All right. I again, as I mentioned, I'm doing a keto diet right now. And I'm in the early phases of it. So, a very restrictive diet in terms of what I can have. And I found, so far doing restaurants out there and out here in World, not really too difficult to order things that, as long as I know what I'm allowed and what I'm not, and I make some common sense choices, I'm able to navigate the menus pretty well. Obviously, they're not as exciting, the dishes, when you have to basically strip them down to their bare bones. But it also does give you an opportunity, I found, to really kind of judge how good the quality of, the meat in particular, or the chicken, when you can't cover it in sauces and you can't cover it in all this sugar and other stuff and carbs. It gives you an idea of how good the quality of the stuff is. So I also started out with the house salad. My other option was New Orleans gumbo, chicken andouille sausage, tasso ham, and rice. So no, I could have done the chicken, the sausage, the ham, left off the rice. But I figured let's just go with a salad, which comes with tomatoes, red onions, yellow peppers, candied pecans, blue cheese, and cranberry. So mine had blue cheese and tomatoes because the rest of it is not really keto friendly for me right now. And I had them do a vinaigrette on the side, which I ended up not using. And it was the same salad basically that Katrina had. And I agree, very fresh. I mean, the lettuce and everything was crisp and fresh. It wasn't like old and brown and crusty. And it was blue cheese and tomatoes. You really can't screw that up. Well, I don't know, maybe you can, but they didn't. For my main course, I opted for the bone-in ribeye, which was, I believe, a 16-ounce ribeye. This was just a massive slab of beef. Gave me my protein fill for the day, which was really nice because I needed it that day. Normally, this will come with a smoked Gouda mac and cheese, a no-no on keto, and seasonal vegetables. So I told them just forget the mac and cheese. And I am really a fan of, can't believe this is coming out of my mouth, steamed asparagus. I am eating asparagus like crazy. I love asparagus. I hated asparagus for years. Not to mention I'm eating broccoli, I'm eating cauliflower, I'm eating Brussels sprouts, I'm eating all this stuff that I never ate before. And actually starting to enjoy it. So I'm amazed by that. But a nice steamed asparagus with this 16-ounce ribeye. And I have to say that the ribeye was better than average. With nothing on it, with no béarnaise sauce, which I could have gotten away with. But I just wanted to see how good this steak was. It was perfectly seasoned, it was perfectly cooked, and it was delicious. Was it worth $70? Not in a million years, okay? This was, at best, a $35 ribeye. 35 to 40 tops. Now, had I been at a high-end steakhouse, and this had been a high-end piece of ribeye, maybe. But we were not in any of those places. We were at the Blue Bayou. And the steak, while it was good, was still what I would consider to be a medium quality cut of beef. So, and like they said, because I'm not doing desserts, and I got to be honest, hardest part about doing keto at Disney World or Disneyland is the desserts. Especially when you're at a table full of people who are having it, and you're sitting there sucking on your decaf. And it's like, okay. But I was glad that I didn't. These guys, like I said, better their hips than mine.
I have no regrets.
So at that point, I'm saying to myself, no way is this worth $70.
Yeah.
But we really haven't experienced the entire package at this point, because part of the package is priority seating for Fantasmic. Now, you may have done Fantasmic here in Orlando and think you've seen it. I promise you, you have not seen anything.
Yeah.
Our Fantasmic sucks. Their Fantasmic is everything. So we got, there were 3 separate lines for people who had done the Fantasmic dining package. There was one for people who had done the Blue Bayou. There was one for people who had done the River Belle Terrace. And there was another one for, which one was it?
I think they just do
Hungry Bear.
Yeah, it's Hungry Bear.
Oh.
It's like a Hungry Bear, and it's like a pre-made meal that you pick up and you eat somewhere else, and then they give you a ticket to go see the show.
Now,
It's a boxed meal.
important to note that these people did not get the little
butt cushions for that.
butt cushions.
Yeah.
There's no seating for this. You're sitting on the ground around Rivers of America.
Well, we are the only section that had to sit down. They didn't have to sit down. It's because
We're right up in front.
Yeah, and so I've seen Fantasmic from a lot of different angles here now because of the Diz. I went to the media event when they reopened it, and they try to put the media in a really good spot for it, and it was good. And then I have watched it in a VIP seating area because a friend of mine, Francis, gave me an area there where they put me in a chair and I watched it. I will tell you, where we watched it that night on the cushions, I was dead center, Mickey Mouse right in front of me, the Tom Sawyer Island right there. And other than the Craig-sized giant that sat in front of me, so I had to really arch my back to look over his head, I thought this was the best view I've ever had of this show. I saw stuff in the projections that I never even noticed before.
Now, we got in about an hour early, I want to say. And so you're sitting on the ground, albeit on a cushion, which actually helped.
It did.
I'm not going to lie.
It definitely did, yeah.
At first, you're looking at...
Definitely.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tyler.
No, yeah, I was agreeing with you. The cushion definitely helps. I've done it without the cushion, and it's just not fun.
No, I mean, I was surprised because when you look at the cushion, you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, right.
But it actually helped a lot. But still, you're on the ground for an hour. And, we're playing...
Heads Up.
We're playing Heads Up with our phones, the Disney edition of Heads Up.
That was fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then the show starts. And suddenly, you don't care where you're sitting. Because this show is spectacular. This show is spectacular.
I highly agree. I think you were right in the show. You felt when the ship was going by with the pirates and stuff, you just felt oh my gosh, this is humongous compared to when you're standing up and watching it. It's different when you're sitting down and looking up and you're wow.
Exactly. It gives you that new perspective because you're lower. It almost even kind of because you're sitting like a child, I guess. So you're kind of sitting down and looking up at what you said, that
right.
It's just a perspective that you're not going to get that perspective any of the other places. So, I mean, unless you got there really, really early, I guess, for a fast pass and sat there, but you're still not going to be in the middle. So
that's definitely another thing you need to think about when you're thinking about the price, the $69 price, is that the only way you're ever going to be able to sit in this area where we sat right in the front is by going to Blue Bayou. So it's definitely another consideration when you're thinking of the pricing.
And that is why when after that, after the show, when I sat and said to myself, okay, this is the only way we're going to get this view, with that meal, was this worth $70? And my verdict on that is just barely.
Yeah.
Just barely. Yes, it is. If Fantasmic is a must-see for you, which it really ought to be, and you want this amazing spot to see it, as long as Blue Bayou can keep their food in the range that it was on this, then I can say, yes, I would recommend, can't believe these words are leaving my mouth, I would recommend Blue Bayou for this, because I think you had a better experience than if you'd done Hungry Bear or
Definitely,
River Belle Terrace. Rhino, worth $70? Yes or no?
It's like what you said. Like at first, I was like, when they said, "Oh, get there an hour ahead of time," I'm like, "Oh God, we just paid for a $70 meal, and then they give us this cushion, and I don't have a great back, so I'm gonna have to sit on the ground for a whole hour." The cushion helped. Being there with friends, playing those games helped. That show started, and I was like, I don't even remember what the price was. Like, so,
Right.
so that was a big factor for me. Like, it's not an all the time thing, but it's like what you said, Pete. If the food stays in that realm where it is, it could be better, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was bad, but I feel like it was right on that line, like you said.
But I think for the people who had the surf and turf,
Yeah.
before the show ever started, they felt like they had gotten their money's worth. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, I mean, hands down, like I completely say yes. And then also, if you do have the first showing of Fantasmic, you get kind of like three things for it. You get the Blue Bayou, because I know a lot of people love to eat there. And then 2, you get to see Fantasmic in a great view. And 3, you get to see the fireworks, and they have the projections on Tom Sawyer Island, so you get to see all that. Yes, you don't get to see, Buzz Lightyear going in front of the castle or the Up House going over the castle, but honestly, if you just really want to see the fireworks and the projections, it's highly worth it because you get to see all that for $70.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. When I was thinking about the $69 price tag, I was like, yeah, I agree with you. I think it just barely works. I think that's like a good pricing for it. But then you told us the price altogether for all, what was it, 7 of us? And I was like, oh boy, that is actually a lot of money when I think about it. But all in all, like with the fireworks, like what Katrina said, and the fact that you can only sit there with eating at Blue Bayou, you get your seat cushion. I mean, you got to pick the right entree. You some of the entrees are cheaper than others. Like there's a pork chop. There's no way that's worth $69. But I think it's worth it, especially if you've never been to Disneyland before, or you just have never been to, it's been a long time, because Blue Bayou, Fantasmic, these are classic Disneyland things. These are things that every Disney fan should want to check out at least once, So to me, it was worth it.
And one thing that I want to point out to people, unlike Walt Disney World, where you really need to book this stuff months in advance, I booked this reservation for 7 people at the Blue Bayou a week before we did it,
Wow.
and had no trouble getting it. Now, I don't know if that's always the case out there, but I've never really had a big problem getting. There's been a couple of times, depending on the season, where Blue Bayou has been tough to get. But generally speaking, when I've eaten there, I've not had a problem. But I did this about a week. We were there the very end of May, so keep that in mind. But I was able to do this a week out. I recommend doing it earlier than that, but this was kind of a last minute decision that I made. So overall, I think we're unanimous in that, yes, it is worth it. Pay attention to what you order. The Surf and Turf seems to be the best deal on that menu, but the spot you get for Fantasmic and the show you get to see is absolutely priceless. So that, ladies and gentlemen, will do it for this episode of our show. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back with you again next week with another episode of the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged. Have a great week, everybody.